Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, War, Peace, and the Presidency. I'm Amy Goodman. The UN Climate Summit in Baku, Azerbaijan has ended, with wealthy, polluting nations pledging to pay a total of $300 billion a year to help developing nations cope with the climate crisis they themselves did not create. But the agreement was widely denounced by nations in the global south and by climate justice activists. India's chief negotiator, Chandni Reina, described the deal as nothing more than an optical illusion.
We are disappointed with the outcome, which clearly brings out the unwillingness of the developed country parties to fulfill their responsibilities. As we struggle to deal with climate change, the outcome proposed in the paper will further affect our ability to adapt to climate change, greatly impact our NDC ambitions and its implementation, and create further challenges to our resilience, and above all, will severely impact growth.
We'll have more on the UN Climate Summit after headlines. In Gaza, Israel's repeatedly attacked the Kamal Adwan Hospital in Beit Lahia as Israel's siege on northern Gaza continues. One drone strike injured the hospital's director, Dr. Hossam Abu Safia, who's repeatedly risked his life to keep the hospital open. Last month, his 8-year-old son Ibrahim died in an Israeli attack. On Saturday, Dr. Safia spoke from a hospital gurney in intensive care after the attack.
They are targeting everyone. But by God, this will not stop us from completing our humanitarian role, and we will continue to provide this service at any cost to us. We are still calling upon the world, and will keep calling to the hope that there are those with consciences. I was injured in my place of work, and this is an honor for me to be injured in this place, since my blood is not better or more valuable than the rest of the martyrs. But this will not stop us. And we will continue to provide humanitarian service in a place known to the world. And we will provide it, God willing, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter what, even if it costs our lives.
12 other healthcare workers were injured at Kamal Adwan Hospital in another Israeli attack on Friday. Israel also bombed a building in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, where several families were staying. At least 9 people died, including children.
The world is unfair. We are being killed and they are not doing anything. There is no food, water, and there is a besiege. And they kill us and everyone is watching. We only have God. May their souls rest in peace. Ahmed, Musa, and all his friends. They were friends together when they were killed.
Heavy rains and flooding is leading to more misery in Gaza. A civil defense spokesperson said Sunday, quote, rainfall has caused severe damage to tents housing thousands of displaced people, with water flowing inside the tents and damaging luggage and mattresses, unquote. Meanwhile, Hamas has announced an Israeli airstrike killed a female Israeli hostage in northern Gaza and injured another. The Israeli military did not confirm or refute the claim. Israel's also continuing to bombard Lebanon. On Saturday, an Israeli airstrike in central Beirut killed at least 29 people and injured 67 others. Survivors said no warning was issued before the attack.
What can I tell you? We escaped from Beirut's southern suburbs, Dahia, and we said we'd take shelter in Beirut because it's safe. What happened in Dahia has happened to Beirut. At least in Dahia, there's warnings and people leave. In Beirut, it happens without warning. Crime after crime, children killed. It's enough what happened in Gaza and what's happening here and what happened in Dahia.
Hezbollah responded by firing about 250 projectiles into Israel. This all comes as new reports are circulating. The Israeli government has agreed in principle to a ceasefire in Lebanon. In other news from Lebanon, Human Rights Watch has accused Israel of committing an apparent war crime by killing 3 journalists and injuring 4 others last month. Human Rights Watch found Israel killed the Lebanese journalists using an airdrop bomb equipped with a U.S.-produced Joint Direct Attack Munition Guidance Kit, and what the group said was, quote, most likely a deliberate attack, unquote. The Israeli cabinet unanimously voted to sanction the Haaretz newspaper, saying the paper's editorials, quote, have hurt the legitimacy of the State of Israel and its right to self-defense, unquote. Under the move, the government will stop advertising in the paper and cut off communications with it. Haaretz responded by saying the decision is, quote, another step in Netanyahu's journey to dismantle Israeli democracy, unquote. In other news related to Israel, authorities in the United Arab Emirates have arrested 3 people after the body of an Israeli rabbi, Zvi Kogan, was discovered Sunday, 3 days after he went missing. President-elect Donald Trump has picked Project 2025 co-author Russell Vought to lead the White House Office of Management and Budget again. Vought helped draft the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 blueprint to radically reshape federal agencies. During the campaign, Trump distanced himself from Project 2025, but he's now tapping its authors for key posts. Over the weekend, Trump announced a number of other cabinet and high-level positions, including the billionaire hedge fund manager Scott Bessent to be Treasury Secretary. Bessent once worked for George Soros, but has since embraced Trump's use of tariffs and push for deregulation. For Labor Secretary, Trump tapped Congressmember Lori Charez-Durimer, one of the few Republican lawmakers to support the PRO Act, which would make it easier for workers to unionize. Trump has also named controversial far-right pundit Sebastian Gorka to become Senior National Security Council Director for Counterterrorism and Deputy Assistant to the President. It's a top post that doesn't require Senate confirmation. Gorka advised Trump in his first term, but was pushed out after The Forward revealed he once had ties to a Hungarian far-right Nazi allied group and that he supported an anti-Semitic and racist paramilitary militia in Hungary while he served as a Hungarian politician. During an interview earlier this month on the Russian broadcaster RT, Gorka denied Palestine exists.
Why can't you talk about genocide in Gaza? And is that the same with all of the Trump?
Because there isn't any genocide in Gaza. There is no such thing as Palestine. Do you know what the etymology of the word Palestinian is? It was a name invented by the Roman Empire.
Yeah, the problem is, as an impartial interlocutor, you know that is not shared by the rest of the world. The rest of the world disagrees with you, so you're going to be a game.
I'm glad you talk for the rest of the world.
Trump has picked former Florida Congressmember Dr. Dave Weldon to be the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Weldon is a vaccine skeptic who supported the debunk theory linking vaccines to autism. For Surgeon General, Trump tapped Fox News contributor Dr. Jeanette Neshawat, who serves as one of the medical directors at CityMD, a chain of urgent care centers in New York. Trump picked another frequent Fox News commentator, Dr. Martin McCary, to head the Food and Drug Administration. During the COVID pandemic, McCary was a vocal critic of vaccine mandates. In a surprise pick, Trump has also nominated Brooke Rollins to be Agriculture Secretary. She served in the first Trump administration and co-founded the America First Policy Institute. Trump's also named former NFL player and White House official Scott Turner to head HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. This all comes as ethics experts are raising alarms over Trump's refusal to reveal who's funding his transition operations. Trump has yet to sign an ethics agreement to begin the formal transition process, which has prevented the FBI from doing background checks on any of his nominees. In other Trump news, New York Judge Juan Merchan has indefinitely postponed sentencing the president-elect over his criminal hush money conviction. In May, a Manhattan jury found Trump guilty on all 34 felony charges of attempting to influence the 2016 presidential election by falsifying business records to cover up a hush money payment. In Uruguay, the center-left opposition candidate Yamandu Orsi won a runoff presidential election Sunday, defeating Álvaro Delgado of the ruling center-right Partido Nacional. Orsi is a former mayor, history teacher with the Frente Amplio, or Broad Front Party. He spoke from Montevideo after his victory.
I am going to be the president who builds a more integrated society, a more integrated country, where, in addition, despite the differences, no one can ever be left behind from an economic, social, and also political point of view.
In news from Pakistan, authorities in Islamabad are fortifying the city as tens of thousands of protesters head toward the capital to demand freedom for ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan. Schools in Islamabad are closed. Social media apps are partially suspended. Heavily armed police have set up containers throughout the city. More than 4,000 Khan supporters have recently been arrested. Khan has been in prison since August 2023 on what are widely viewed as politically motivated charges. In the Philippines, Vice President Sara Duterte threatened to have Filipino President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., his wife, and the Filipino House Speaker assassinated if she is killed, amidst an escalating public falling out between the country's rulers. Sara Duterte made these shocking comments during an official briefing that was live-streamed on Facebook in response to a viewer comment about her own safety.
I have talked to a person. I said, if I get killed, go kill Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Lisa Araneta, and Speaker Martin Romualdez. No joke, no joke. I said, do not stop until you kill them, and then he said yes.
President Marcos Jr.'s security has been increased as he vowed to take action following the threat. Sara Duterte is the daughter of President Marcos Jr.'s predecessor, Rodrigo Duterte, who last month admitted he led a death squad while he was the mayor of Davao, and who's being investigated by the International Criminal Court over his so-called war on drugs, which killed thousands of people. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is the son of the dictator Ferdinand Marcos, who ruled the Philippines from 1965 until 1986, when he was overthrown in a popular uprising. In South Korea, negotiations have begun to create a global treaty to dramatically reduce plastic pollution. On Saturday, about 1,500 people marched in Busan, carrying banners reading, "Cut plastic production and drastic plastic reduction now." And in Australia, police arrested some 170 people as activists and kayaks formed a blockade at sea to shut down maritime traffic to the port of Newcastle, one of the world's largest coal ports. Thousands took part in the climate action in the state of New South Wales. This is Peter Schofield, a doctor and activist with the group Rising Tide Australia.
We're here in Newcastle. We're a singularity, really. It's in a unique place, it being the largest coal port in the world, exporting vast amounts of coal. If we can make a difference here, and if we can demonstrate our commitment as a community and as a government to influencing things such that we minimise that can have worldwide implications. And so, what we do here is very, very important.
And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.